I want to turn to one final point about the recruiting crisis our services face. The Army is the most acute. It's challenging all services, though. I've spoken to numerous recruiters, frontline recruiters, heads of recruiting battalions. Two of the most common things I hear is genesis and a lack of medical providers to process new recruits. Do you have a memo on your desk from the services to place a pause on genesis?
No, not.
Have you received that? Because my sources tell me you've received a request from the services to pause genesis.
I talked to the services about the service secretaries about genesis, and also have talked to the service chiefs about genesis as well. I don't have knowledge of any
Okay.
of that memo. But what I will tell you is that we're doing everything we can to improve the number of healthcare providers that are available and to streamline the operations with Genesis. Now, Genesis is it's an issue that our recruiting force had to work through, but it is not the sole cause of.
Well, no, I know it's not the sole cause. There's a lot of other causes. I just say it comes up constantly. And just for those listening at home, Genesis is not just the first book of the Bible. It's this giant medical records system that now catches everything that's ever happened to you. So, every drill sergeant accuses recruits of lying to their recruiter so they can get into the service. But now Genesis catches all that. So if you broke your arm when you were 12 playing Pee Wee football, Genesis knows it. If you were prescribed an SSRI because you were depressed when you were 13 because your parents were getting a bad divorce, Genesis knows it. And you got to go through a whole lot of rigmarole to get a waiver. Now, look, we can't have psychotics joining the military, but if a kid was on an SSRI when he's 13, does that really matter? Does it really matter? If he broke his arm when he was 13, he can't have a degenerate bone condition, but he broke his arm. And I know you'll say, because I've heard it before, that there's waiver approvals here. It takes a long time. And like if you're like a super gung-ho Captain America kid who wants to serve above everything else, you'll wait that time. But if it's going to take 120 or 150 days to join when you get a job at Amazon for $20 or $25 an hour, you're going to lose those people. I think you really need to look at the way Genesis works and the approval authority. And even if you have approval authority, whether it's an E8 out on the front lines at a mall or a lieutenant colonel at the headquarters, you're counting on them to take what they might see as some serious personal risk that doesn't have a lot of reward. That's why I think this has to be written into policy. My time is over, but I do think this is a serious question for all the services, and that I'd encourage you to look at it and take action sooner rather than later.
I don't disagree with you, Senator. I've been a recruiter, and I know how important this is to recruiters. And so what we need to continue to do is upgrade what requires a waiver and make sure that we're doing everything we can to provide enough medical professionals to be able to shorten the time that it takes to get that waiver. And so I think there are a number of things that we can do and should do, and we are doing some of those things. And we'll continue to press on this to shorten the time that it takes for recruiters to get these packets through. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.